Well, good morning, YouTube. Louie here with the Bullion News of the Week. Yeah, that's a picture of what my wife brought home from Costco yesterday. The one on top, the donut shop coffee boxes are now no longer 100, they are now 80. All right, this is an old box that we have gone through, and now we get 80. And let's take a look at coffee prices. So you can see what's going on with inflation. Yeah, inflation is still with us, although you can't see it in the value of the dollar, which is in relation to other foreign currencies. But you can see it on this chart here. We have coffee prices going from 100 in 2020, let's call that pre-pandemic, actually 95, to a close of $222 as of yesterday, as of Friday. Look at that, a doubling in the price of coffee. And who says inflation is coming down? Of course, it could tick down a little bit in relation to this time last year when they get around to reporting CPI. But there's a thing called the base effect. And, some base effects means that the comparative is higher or lower going forward. And when the comparative is higher during an increasing time, the comparative today to that higher would tend to suggest a decrease. But we're not really seeing much of a decrease in inflation, and we could see a few ticks lower here in the next few months. But I believe it is going to come roaring back because we are not doing anything to really fix it other than potentially moving into recession. So plan to pay more for your coffee. I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe you don't buy the Keurigs anymore. Maybe you go back to a pound of good old ground coffee and you bring out the old brewer and you make yourself a pot, because those pods are very expensive now, and you may not want to pick those up the way you have before. Let's keep going here. Okay, now I wanted to show you this. This is from Bullion Vault, and it's a recent article. It's annual price patterns in gold, silver, and platinum. Now, these are seasonal patterns which people follow. And let's see what we've got here. If we've got gold or silver. 1 second. This is gold. Okay, after surging to new all-time US dollar highs in March, April, and May this year, might the second half of 2024 repeat the more seasonally typical pattern? Okay, here is the infographic, and pardon all the lines, but they have got gold in US dollar, Great Britain pounds, the euro, and Japanese yen. Okay, so we are looking at the blue lines here, and this is seasonally what has happened to gold prices over a 20-year history. Okay, so they average 20 years, and over the average of 20 years, we've got the highest pops in gold in January and in November. I think November has something to do with holiday shopping and gift giving. Possibly India has a lot to do with that. And the lowest prices in March, June, and September. So if we look at the trend here from beginning of year to the end of the year, it kind of goes, it makes a wave down and then a wave up in the summertime, then a wave back down in the fall, and a wave back up at the end of the year. So where are we? We are in July now. Well, we're just getting out of June, actually. Let's look at that. And some of the seasonally lowest prices have been in June. As we move into July and August, okay, so we are moving into a seasonally stronger pattern for gold, and that could have an impact on what we are seeing. We are also waiting for the Fed to cut rates. Looks like he wants to, but he's going to wait a little bit longer. But eventually, he is going to start cutting rates. Some people expect that to happen before the election, others maybe after, but we've got rate cuts starting. And when rate cuts come, that is good for metals. And in this scenario, we also have the inversion of the 10-year yield. What typically happens when the 10-year yield inverts, we have stock market rallies. And then when the stock market uninverts, 2-year over 10-year, then we typically at that moment or shortly thereafter is when the wheels come off the stock market. So I think we're going to be heading into a period here of higher precious metals prices and lower stock market prices. And no one agrees. Everybody thinks the next bull market is on and we're headed to Dow 50,000. Well, having lived through the dot-com crash, which this looks a lot like, I can tell you payback is a bitch, and we will see what happens. But yeah, naturally we've had some pullbacks here in June. It has been a seasonally weak period for gold, and we'll get to the GSR in a minute. Okay, let's just keep moving through the news here. And this one is saying Trump versus Biden. How could the U.S. election affect the gold price? Well, let's see what Dean Belder thinks. And clearly, Trump has got the leg up at the moment. So we'll see. In 2020, this has lots of ins and outs as a result of COVID and so forth. So let me see if I want to read it all to you. Let's see. I'm going to keep going. How do elections affect gold price? Looking at past U.S. elections can provide insight on how the gold price may move in the days and weeks following November 5th. However, on a broad scale, changes post-election tend to normalize fairly quickly. Well, let's take a look. Okay, so let's see. In 2016, when Trump ran against Hillary, the gold price climbed almost $50 in the weeks leading up to the November 8th election, peaking at just above $1,300 per ounce on November 4th. So historically, elections can, specifically elections and elections involving Trump and perhaps Republicans as well, tend to spike gold. Following Trump's win, gold fell substantially, moving as low as $1,128 in mid-December. Following that low point, the gold price began to rebound, and by the middle of January 17 was once again above $1,200. So is this an average? Well, these are the gold prices leading up to the election and beyond, I believe. Maybe we need a shorter chart here. Where is the legend for this chart? Okay, I'm going to pass over this chart. I don't quite understand it. The 2020 election, let's see, gold was trading around $1,900, although it fell as low as $1,867. After the election, gold prices performed positively, spiking from $1,900 to $1,951 on November 6th. However, gold prices fell down over the following weeks and dipped briefly below $1,800 as vote recounts in Georgia and several districts and legal challenges by Trump's team dragged on. So in this case, drama in Washington did not help gold. Gold began to climb again in December ahead of the January 6th, the infamous January 6th event, when the Electoral College met to formalize Biden's victory. That day, the attack on the U.S. Capitol building, which aimed to stop the progress, caused the gold price to plunge from 1949 to 1848. The events of January 6 were the start of a decline in the gold price that continued on until March 8th, when gold bottomed out at $1,674. So there is the upshot there. Elections are good for gold. After elections, it tends to fall back. And drama in the electoral process is apparently not good for gold. Okay, and how did the price perform under President Trump? The gold price rose substantially during Trump's presidency, increasing from $1,209 when he assumed office on January 20th, 2017. Wow, I can't believe that much time has gone by, to $1,839 on his final day. So Trump oversaw one of the biggest increases in gold in gold history. That is surprising. So, Trump is certainly pro-capitalism and pro-markets. But then again, he is probably not good for the dollar. The dollar will likely weaken because there will be tax cuts, continued tax cuts, and there will be military spending. And I don't see any cuts to spending coming, which is inflationary, which is also good for gold. So, yeah, I think you can expect gold prices to perform well under a Trump presidency. But if there is there some kind of rhubarb around the elections, that could crater gold. Okay, moving on. We're going to look at silver prices here really quickly. This is a 1 month chart, and no, it's not looking too healthy. Okay, I know we hit 31.50, and we've bounced off 29 a couple of times now. We had a pre-market or post-market spike or intraday spike below 29, which I think was a buying opportunity. And now we are at about 29.50. Let's see what the future brings. Okay, the GSR, I'll get to the GSR in a minute, but it's right around 80. Okay, for those of you following the U.S. Mint and the drama around the Liberty and Britannia silver medal, it is once again out of stock. You could have bought as many as you wanted at $89, and now it's gone out of stock, but it is not sold out. So if you're still looking for that round, that medal, feel free to keep watching the U.S. Mint website, especially early mornings. Maybe what they were doing was selling returns. Maybe what they were doing was cleaning out the gift shops. It's very strange, and I hope at some point somebody gets to the bottom of what the U.S. Mint did here. But looks like it's shaking out okay because investors in this metal have now got the metal on Remind Me status, and sales on eBay are still pretty strong. Okay? All right, moving over to Costco. One of the best deals of the week is the Costco Silver Maple, and this $779.99. This is up right now. Wait a minute, did it go out of stock while I was making the video? 779.99. Well, unfortunately, it's gone out of stock since I started making the video, but at about $780. You can pick these up. Subscribe to my website if you want alerts on when these come up. I do those most every day. Not always the maples, but sometimes it's the eagles, and often it's the gold. But you'd be under $31 an ounce on maples here if you have the Executive Club membership, which costs $120 a year, so you can buy some of that overpriced coffee. Or and a 2% rebate credit card. There's a couple of those out there that you may want to try. So 4% off would get you under $31 on maples. And you can also find a good deal at the regular bullion retailers. Again, check my website. And you can find them on eBay and get yourself probably in the mid-31s on a good eBay deal from the same sellers, the same dealers that sell online. They just sell it cheaper on eBay because you can use your credit card. Okay, and the United States Mint. Yeah, I guess everybody is expecting this now. Okay, of course, the debates were a disaster. Not only were they horrible to watch and embarrassing to watch for Americans, but, Biden didn't do well in what looked to be a very touchy situation for him is leading the entire world to say, when will he withdraw? I don't know. This thing seems to be staged to some extent. And who do you think the replacement will be? Well, do you have your money on Gavin Newsom, or perhaps another upcoming Democratic star? We will see, but I don't think Joe's going to make it to the election. And the Democrats are definitely in a tough spot here. I think over 80% of Americans think that Trump won the election, and many, many, many people don't think Biden will make it. And there you go. So looks like in the bag for Trump at the moment, but we don't know who the contender is. I personally think it'll be Michelle Obama. That's what I'm expecting, have been for a long time, and then it'll be a horse race. Okay, now Costco also had a release of a brand new item, and that is this 1 ounce Pamp Silver Buffalo. Beautiful upscale buffalo. I have not held one in my hand, but Pamp has good products. And reeded edge. I like the reeded edge. It makes it very coin-like. So there they are right there, and you could have got those in the 31s on Costco, but as people realize, you can get these in the 31s on Monument Metals, so that ain't no great deal on Costco. If you want to pick up a couple of those and see if you like them, you can do it at Monument Metals today. And then if you love them, well, Costco will likely be 25, 50 cents cheaper, or maybe they'll bring the price down. Oh, is silver at 29.19? I was thinking it was 29.50, but yeah, there we are back in the low 29s. Okay, but there is that Pamp Buffalo. Let me know if you like that. All right, this is also a hot round out right now from Scottsdale Mint, the Justice Round. And a lot of people like this, and some people are paying up $45 for the Alpha Strike. Well, obviously it is antiqued. It is a very interesting image. And, oh, it is a coin, actually. Gibraltar, huh? All right, so Scottsdale must have a deal with the country of Gibraltar to bring you those. There's limited mintage on these. Oh, gosh, let's see. I can't find the mintage, but there is a... Are the specifications anywhere? Specs. Yeah, so the mintage is 249. Oh, only 249? Well, that's crazy. And they're sold out, so I don't know about a 249 mintage. What do you guys think about that? Of course, there are other versions of this one. There's a $38 version, antiqued. There's a $38. There's a $34 version, which is looks about the same. Looks to be antiqued. And mintage of 100,000 on these. Well, 100,000 is way too many, so don't think that's going to go crazy in the aftermarket. And you've got to pay up, well, about $7 over spot. So, but, you know, it's an interesting design, and that's fine if you want to grab one of those, see if you like it. Okay, let's keep going here. And what was I going to show you here? Oh yeah, this article right here. UBS says silver prices should rise once Fed begins cutting rates. Well, that is kind of what happens. Gold prices rise, silver prices rise when the Fed starts cutting rates. I don't need to go through that, but I would not lose faith here. We are just getting through some doldrums, and I think we'll get this show back on the road shortly. I won't read you that article. Okay, and in the major economic news coming up for the week, well, last week was just chocked full of information, and going forward on Monday, we have the PMI index. Okay, will that be flat? Could be. Construction spending. On July 2nd, we have Chairman Powell speaking in Portugal. He can always jawbone the market. Usually he's a little more hawkish when he speaks, not given any signs of a rate cut in the near future, although more Americans, full-time American jobs are being lost. And the world economy looks pretty robust, but the U.S. economy, I don't know, kind of on shaky legs here. So I would expect him to be hawkish on Tuesday. That could perhaps put a top on metals on that day. On Wednesday, we have more Fed speakers coming out. Again, they tend to be kind of hawkish when they speak. We have ADP employment. We could look for that to be weak. Initial jobless claims. We could look for more Americans to be out of work. So that would portend lower interest rates. So yeah, it could be we start out the week depending on PMI, if PMI comes in on target and we move into hawkish Fed rhetoric, and then that could depress prices, and then Wednesday look for employment to perhaps be weak, and then we could be back off to the races. By Friday, we've got John Williams speaking, and more employment and hourly wage reports. Okay, so next week, I don't know, could open low, could climb by the middle of the week. Saw a couple of good videos about gold miners recently, and this is the VanEck GDX gold miners, a basket of gold miners, which some of us invest in. I have a very small investment in gold miners. But I do like to keep active with it because someday it is going to skyrocket. And you can see what happens with gold prices here over time. Gold miner prices here over time. When we get runs in the price of gold, we also get large runs in the gold miners. And but the story, and here we are sitting, well, right in the range, about the middle of the recent range. Could we see another dip? Yeah, we could see another little dip. But I would think that gold miners are getting ready to make a move here pretty soon. And the story that I've seen, which is very credible, is that you have to remember gold miners are stocks. Stocks have bottom lines, and with the price of gold at 2,300 and holding, their profits are going to be substantial coming into the next reporting season, which I think would be mid-July. So look for gold miners to show some improving results. That could be good for the GDX and other miners if you want to pick them individually. But we're right in the sweet spot of gold miners reporting, some of the highest gold prices in history, and that has got to be good for their profits. The speaker that I listened to believed that the inflationary shocks for the cost of petroleum and labor and such have already been absorbed into the gold miner prices, but they have not yet reflected the increased profit margins from higher gold prices. So there you go, hopeful on GDX. Okay, and whatever that was, close. I was trying to get to the GSR. Here we are on the GSR. So GSR most recently has been trading between 72 and 80. Right now we're sitting right up at the top of 80. Of course, GSR can come down as a result of gold dropping or silver increasing. So you can decide where you want to be on that pendulum. But I think we're closer to the low end than closer to the high end than the low end. Of course, when metals make their move, we can expect a 65. 65 would not be an unreasonable target, down from 80. What would that be? A move from 80 to 65? Well, let's do some math. 80 divided by 65, and I'm not saying that's tomorrow or even next month, but that's a 23% increase. Times $29 silver would be, put silver at over $35 an ounce. And that is if gold holds its own at 2,300. And of course, gold could take a little dip down as well. It could visit 2,200, but you don't have to worry about gold in the long run. And this GSR, well, it has spiked as high as 120, but that was in extreme circumstances in 2020. Let's hope we don't have another one of those. Otherwise, it gets very, very toppy in the 90 area. That has been a general top for many years, and here we are at 80. So you have to decide which way that's moving. If we have a sell-off in silver, I guess we could see the 90s again, but eventually we are going to see the 65s. That is my opinion. Okay, and what else do we have going on? I told you about Maples being a pretty good deal. This is my website, bestsilvergolddeals.com, where I do videos every day looking for the cheapest deals at all of the dealers, gold and silver and platinum, etc. And then back to the U.S. Mint. Okay, as I told you Friday, U.S. Mint has finally started making eagles again, and that should mean the premium should drop a little bit. So if we can stay down here in the low 29s for a while and get eagle premiums to drop, we could see some better deals on eagles, okay? So now you can get them this morning for 34, over on eBay. Check my website. And you can get them on Costco probably in the 33s. Probably the low 33s for eagles if you have the 4% rebate. You can get them online at, you can get them on YouTube. Check Vermilion Enterprises. He sells them every day at about $4.50 over spot. which would put you at $33.50, and then whatever, $15 for shipping, something like that. You don't want to buy one, you want to buy, 3 tubes or something to defray the cost of shipping. But probably under 34 out the door at Vermilion. 34 this morning probably over on eBay. And big dealers, well, I don't know if they'll ever see 34, but we should see these premiums start to decline a little bit as the U.S. Mint starts releasing Silver Eagles again. And 1.7 million is not a barn burner, but they are releasing them. They're also making gold again, which a lot of these were zero for a longest time. And looks like they're making the 1 ounce gold. Not too many of the half ounce, okay, so that might be a good buy. And yeah, they're pumping out 1/4 ounce again, which is generally one of the worst premium ways to buy gold eagles. And the 1/10 ounce, they're making a lot of 1/10 ounce, so maybe those premiums will come down. See, I find that although premiums are higher on the 1/10 ounce, resale is better. And premiums are bad, but a little bit lower on the 1/4 ounce, but resale is not as good. So, I'd probably get the 1/10 ounce over the 1/4, but always the 1/2 can be found at a pretty good premium, and the 1 ounce you can get those this morning for just a little over spot on eBay. For example, if you have a 3% credit card, 3% rebate credit card, the ones I recommend. Okay, so yeah, 1 ounce is always going to be your cheapest premium. And Costco is usually going to get you around spot or maybe even a little under if you watch for those deals. Okay, that is Walking Through the News today. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you're doing. I'll leave you with this horrible, horrible image here, which is the future of inflation. I mean, we have to get to deflation to bring prices back down and to rescue the middle and the lower class from oblivion. And common people have got to do something to protect the purchasing power of their dollar, because this is going to continue to happen. And unless we move into recession or depression, inflation even coming down to zero, which the Fed doesn't want. The Fed wants 2% inflation. So, every year, well, let's see, expect 80, even if they reach their 2%, which I think they'll come short of it, and I think we'll have a double dip and it'll grow again. But let's say they hit 4% inflation over the next few years. Well, this will go to, let's see, 4 times 3, right? This will be 77 in a year. This will be 74 in 2 years. This will be 71 Keurig cups in 3 years. And then in 5 years it'll be 60 and then 50. And before you know it, you'll be paying double for the same coffee you can buy today. So feel free to stock up on some of this stuff if your old Costco still has the 100 count, or you can find them cheaper, or better yet, just get your coffee the old-fashioned way and freeze it. It's pretty pricey right now, but if you can find a deal, you may want to freeze some coffee. Matter of fact, you may want to stock up your pantry with absolutely everything that you need. And just to remind you, 4th of July is coming up. And what do I do on 4th of July? I go shopping. I go to the supermarkets. I like Vons and Ralph's. And I look for sales on meat. And boy, the sales on meat are rolling. I'm picking up tri-tips. I'm picking up ribeye roasts. I'm picking up rib roasts. I'm picking up ribeye steaks. And only where they have historically had good quality meat. Some places charge you and you don't get the good stuff. But it's a good time to pick up meat. 3-day weekends, 4th of July, and that could be ribeyes or tri-tips or New York's or hamburger. If you're chicken is always cheap. I can't believe how cheap chicken is. So I don't freeze much of that. But if you like the meat, 3-day weekends are the time to go shopping. Keeping up cash to buy all you need. Put it in your deep freezer. If you don't have a deep freezer, go get one. They're $200 at Home Depot today, and they don't take much energy either. And start stacking that beef, man. You'll be glad you did, because the deal I got, it wasn't $5.99. I see that sometimes for ribeyes. It was $7.99, but retail price is like $15 a pound lately where I live. So good time to stock up on these 3-day weekends and protect yourself from inflation in every way. And one of the ways that we do it is silver and gold. And yeah, we may be tinfoil hat crazies, but I guarantee you my silver will still buy that 100-ounce box. I mean that 100 lot box of Donut Shop. Matter of fact, silver having gone from 22 to 29, which people seem disappointed by because it's not at 32. 22 to 29, well, that's 7 over 22, a 30% increase. So, matter of fact, that 30% increase in silver would get me, 130, well, I don't know, would have got me 130 K cups. Even if they dropped it by 20%, that would still get me 110 or so. So, silver, gold, you know the story. Just get some. See you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you on Monday with the best silver gold deals. Okay? Bye for now.